All right, guys. Morning. It's a little different angle. In the wife's car again. If it's not obvious where I work, it should be pretty obvious. Oh, please don't. Why is this happening? See? Having a dance party last night. Pause. Oh, I hope the audio's still working on this. But anyways, we were having a roller dance party with the kids last night, and that's what the Bee Gees just came on. My whole system's different in the car. I don't have my holder. Let's just get into it, guys. Let's just get right into it. I work at the post office. Yesterday, my car broke down. I have AAA, so I called AAA. I got a boost, or I got charged, and my battery looked like it was fine. And I made it like another 20 minutes, half an hour, and then started to lose power again. And it's like your power steering, all the electronics, everything starts to fail. And I was just kind of thinking it's either the battery's completely dead and there's something wrong, or it could be the alternator, which is what the mechanic who charged it up said. So I was thinking, okay, probably the alternator, so I'm going to get it towed. I got it towed. Long story short, I basically had to tack on like an hour and a half onto my day, running around and waiting, and it made for a longer, more stressful day. We made it through. Everything's fine. But now I got to spend another $1,000 on my own personal vehicle that I drive for the post office for my job. How does that work? I get reimbursed for mileage, a certain percentage, which is based some calculation that they have based off of the price of gas and all this kind of stuff. And it seems like it works sometimes, but this year it's not adding up really. Like I'm looking at like $3-4 grand in repairs and maintenance and upkeep. And I bought the vehicle for $2,500, which was an amazing deal. But it was the driver who I took over their position. They had a stroke and lost. We're paralyzed, and we're not able, to a certain extent, we're paralyzed and couldn't perform the job anymore. And then they also didn't need the money. They wanted me to have the vehicle. Basically, was what it came down to. Is they wanted whoever had to have a personal vehicle. If they didn't have one that worked, they wanted me to have the RAV4 with the conversion pedal kit, and everything was set up, and they gave me a good price, and the guy works on vehicles, and he kept it up. I'm not great at vehicles, but I try, and I try to keep the fluids going and everything like that. And yeah, I just had it come back from my shop with like $1,200 worth of work, and you figure they could spot something like that, but I guess it's just all, you don't necessarily know something's going bad until it does. I had a couple of warning signs, like the battery light came on a couple times, and all my lights came on a couple times. All my lights on my dash and stuff like that. So I probably had a couple warning signs. I probably could have called and got it in and whatever. I would have had to schedule that, and then I'd still be in a similar predicament where I would be driving my wife's vehicle and going into work to use a spare vehicle. Now I'm going in about an hour and a half after when I usually go in, because I will be waiting for the spare vehicle, which is used in the morning to complete an auxiliary route, an aux route for the post office. So they'll do that by the time I'm done casing my mail, which is basically getting all your stuff in order and getting it ready to load up. By the time I'm done doing that, I'm hoping that the truck will be back and I'll be able to just zip on out. It's kind of been a whirlwind weekend. Not really week, just more of a weekend. I mean, there was a lot of stress going up. We went to the Great Wolf Lodge. That was awesome, but we had dog issues before that. I was on the vlog yesterday crying about it, coming to the realization that the 3 dogs that we currently own are all basically dealing with grief in some form of another. The loss of dog, like an entire dog family, our most beloved dogs. Now we love our dogs now, but we have children. So there's a totem pole, there's a pyramid of, there's a caste system to our love, and our dogs are on the lower rung of the caste, and especially Ricky, our first rescued dog that we still have, that's a Chihuahua Terrier, is at the lowest level now, pretty much permanently. We're hoping, that he can just figure things out and we can just get back to having like a good, loving relationship and not have to, he basically, he has this kind of jerk personality where he's vengeful and spiteful, and he'll piss on things that he knows. He'll piss on my musical instruments when he's got a reason. He's like retaliatory. He gets mad at you if you do something. If another, like we have a new dog right now, Teddy, who's like a shrimp of a golden retriever. He's like kind of inbred a mill dog that they wanted to be a stud, but he just wasn't interested, or too scared or whatever, or couldn't be commanding enough, whatever it is. He's like, he's very nervous, but he's a good boy, and we've been putting a lot of effort into him, and he's had some issues, stomach issues and stuff, and he doesn't try to go to the bathroom in the house. He tries to be good, but he has a smaller bladder, and he's a smaller, he's got, like I said, he has issues. But now Ricky, because we're giving Teddy so much attention, the golden retriever, Ricky now, the Chihuahua Terrier mix from Puerto Rico, who doesn't speak proper English, is getting in the mix, trying to frame Teddy by peeing strategically in certain places, but he's peeing all over, and we know it's Ricky. Ricky's the only one who lifts his leg to pee on things, and he's just a little asshole. So he had to spend most of the night on the breezeway. I took his dog bed out there, and it wasn't cold, so he was fine. There was there's no dog abuse there. It's basically just like, putting him out in the doghouse. He's basically in the doghouse, but it was just in the back breezeway. It's like connected to the house. He knew why he was back there, but so that's our caste system for our dogs and our family. We have our kids at the top. They're the priority now. Now that I'm 40 years old, it's like anything that I was going to do or make an impact on culture or anything like that has passed. There's probably nothing that I'm going to do. None of these videos are going to reach anyone. Why should they? I'm just rambling. This is basically, if they exist, they are for my posterity, for my kids to look back on. But right now they're serving as just kind of a practice, a discipline, a practice in consistency, my own therapy session, a way to recapitulate. Obviously, yesterday I broke down and cried. If you want to go back and watch me cry in the middle of the video, it's just like, coming to realizations, looking back and reflecting, and hopefully coming to maybe an epiphany or something profound that is going to, help me. Most importantly, help me. But yeah, my circle and my friends and my family and the people that I care about, hopefully this is going to be beneficial to me, most importantly, because no one else is going to be watching this. But if it does get out, if anybody does watch these, hopefully by that time I've figured it out and gotten to a point, and it's going to be beneficial to them as well, and to you as well. But today, I don't have a specific topic. It seems like the main theme of this channel continues to roll and is really I don't think anybody can challenge. I mean, they can, but you can challenge, but I don't think you can. The conclusion is everything is going to be all right. Everything is going to be all right is the acronym I've chosen. And with just since Saturday, it's been proven right over and over again, because it's obstacle after obstacle, and you just deal with it and you go on. And anyone who can hear this, whether it's just me hearing it from my voice once, putting it onto the internet and posting it out there, or it's my kids or anyone else who needs to hear this, everything is going to be all right. Every single challenge that you face, I believe, is really meant for you to seize, and to, whether or not you fight it, or you can basically prolong all these things by arguing them, or but some of them take a bit of arguing or figuring out or wrestling with. Not every challenge is going to be easy, and sometimes you're not ready for the challenge mentally or emotionally or physically, and you have to work up to it. And that might be the whole point. That is the whole point. It's the process. It's going through it. If you don't go through it, it's not worth it. It doesn't hold the same value. It doesn't hold the same meaning. You don't value that thing, that lesson, whatever it is. And that's like the life. That's where we are now. I think that's the soul school thing. Makes a lot of sense to me. And I've been dealing with this a lot of different things. Yesterday I was saying I was kind of like midlife crisis type of thing, which I have been dealing with, just like what ifs, and thinking about things and thinking like, well, if I follow the thoughts to the conclusion, and you'll realize that like some things are just not worth doing. Some things are not, the risks are not worth it. And that's really, I think that might be what wisdom is. But these are all different crystallized aspects of emotion and that I think these become like the gods. These become like the aspects of like the things that people can follow if you don't want to align yourself with just righteousness and doing things because they're quote unquote right. If you're not thinking like that, then you can serve a bunch of different gods, and when you see things from a right and a wrong perspective and a righteous thing, it's like that divides everything into that. It's kind of a duality, and then it's hard to sum up what my thoughts are, because I don't think I have them. I don't think they're solidified yet. I think I'm still open for interpretation on a lot of these ideas, and I'm working through them. And a lot of it has to do with Christianity and that path, and how hypocritical the church and the religious aspect of that is. Like, I understand that a lot of the truth has been co-opted or perverted, or kind of quarantined or gated off or compartmentalized, where there's bits of truth here and there, but everything has this poison pill that comes with it, where it's like you can get the wrong interpretation and it can send you off on a wild goose chase. And then comes the point of a lot of the dogma in Christianity, and I don't know if it's the true truth, or if it's true. Just living. One of the aspects is that like men are only appointed, one life, but it talks about like the second death, and it talks about this, and I wonder if it means men as in your ego, like your flesh and the ego that's attached to that, the kind of persona that is not your spiritual self, that is kind of just the meat suit type of thing. If that's what they mean by that's like you're only appointed one of those, like you're not going to come back I'm not going to come back in this avatar, in this flesh, meat puppet suit again. I get one shot in this version. But is that just thinking about the reincarnation thing of living different lives? And it makes more sense to me to be able to get more wisdom and more perspective, which I think that what ultimately the wisdom is gaining the perspective to know what is going to be the most beneficial for your illumination or your development. And there is a school of thought that is like going, and this is where the confusion comes in. When I think of confusion, I think of Satan, because of my Christian. I'm a Catholic as far as my upbringing, but I left the Catholic Church before I was confirmed at 15 because I was disillusioned, and I didn't believe in kind of the whole, I had a lot of questions. And then I had to come to Jesus moment in 2013. After 2012 kind of was a, nothing happened as far as like the end of the world. I was into the new age. I was waiting for something big to happen, and nothing happened on December 21st, 2012. As far as I'm concerned, there's still people saying that, something happened, or a light came into the world, or an energy shift happened, or we changed Kali Yuga, or the Kali Yuga's on the upswing, or whatever it is. I didn't feel it. I felt like I was more lost than ever and looking for the truth. And what was kind of revealed to me is that the Christian, that Christ, Jesus Christ, there is truth to his story, and there's truth in the Bible, and there's truth that can be found there. And I still believe that. I still do believe that is true, and there is the truth. But I don't necessarily think that the way that it's framed for everyone is the interpretation that we have, and that we should have. And then I get into the Gnostic ideas, but it becomes very hard to navigate those, and you kind of have to follow your heart and understand the difference, what is right and wrong for you. And then and if you really do the work, you're going to realize that it is generally Christianity. It is generally like, do unto others as you would have done unto you. And if you live by that, then, and if you have good intentions, and if your heart's good, then it all makes sense. There is the bit of sacrifice, and it's all built into this simulation that we're in, where we have to, you have to, in order to achieve where you want to go, you have to go through the refining fire, and you have to go through the fire to be purified. Or you can go and kind of wallow in the filth, and I guess that's fun for a certain type of person for a certain amount of time. And hopefully they're all redeemable, and at a certain point we can all be redeemed. But I'm at work, and everything is going to be all right.